are my friends. Come along with me, see how the story ends.
Howdy doody, y'all. Welcome back to Professional Hippie Show. We're your guests, Colton. This is Colton. This is Dylan. And we're off to a strong start. 250 milligrams of caffeine today is an attempted pattern interrupt. You know what they say, when attempting to get rid of a vice, replace it with another.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
And I'll be damned if caffeine's not a hard one to kick.
Yeah. You really can't cut vices cold turkey without replacing it, right? I mean, eventually you're just going to be replacing it with more oxygen, which is some other vice,
I think that's like the vice of life.
Yeah.
That's very deep of you, Dylan.
Sometimes.
Yeah. Well, it's not caffeine I was trying to kick. I think caffeine for me is an easy one. I don't know. It sucks when you wake up without like a caffeine ramp. You get a caffeine headache. It's crazy that your body almost penalizes you for not being stimulated.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's the ramp you gave it every day. It's like, hey man, you want to go that route? We can. Now you got to do it every day for the rest of your life.
I don't get it. Until I was like 30, caffeine was not a thing for me. Like here and there, a Bang Energy or Red Bull or whatever. But once I hit about 30, it was like, ooh.
It wasn't until I worked at a place that actually had good coffee, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Like I worked at Cracker Barrel for a while, and I was like a chef and stuff.
Good coffee?
No, it wasn't the good coffee.
Okay, I was like,
it wasn't the good coffee. And then I ended up moving from Cracker Barrel over to like an Embassy Suites and working there. And eventually, I was working long nights, pretty late. And I was like, all right, I guess coffee. I'll start trying coffee, and Embassy Suites has pretty good coffee. So I started taking that and putting a little vanilla creamer in there. Like, oh, all right, this ain't too bad. Oh, I can work hours now.
And then eventually, coffee, do you ever get a crash and burn from coffee?
Particularly, no. I definitely think it's one of the less crashy ones to take. I've definitely switched a lot more over to trying to drink more coffee than energy drinks, for sure. Don't get me wrong. Like if I'm on a road trip, sometimes the energy drinks is what I need. But I've definitely stopped. Like when I've been coming back from Tallahassee or something, and I stop at one of those rest stops. I've tried one of those
boner pills.
One of those machine coffees at the rest stop.
Oh, really?
Those aren't that bad, actually.
I mean,
they're not the greatest, but you can put
if you have low expectations for those, you're going to get handsomely rewarded.
I think I was driving a lot. It was when I was driving a shit ton back and forth from Tallahassee and stuff. And I was tired of energy drinks. I was like, I just want something energy that's a little different. It was at 1 a.m.
Yeah.
I was, just try one of these. And they have an option on there, extra caffeine, more espresso. I'm sure that's what that means. I was
like, if you were to go to that same rest stop and get bagel bites out of the frozen section, throw them in the microwave, and you didn't expect a fucking New York, Brooklyn style pizza.
Yeah. I'm not expecting much.
You're going to be fired up. You're going to be like, bagel bite tastes kind of like pizza. Pretty good.
And I bought an energy drink just as a backup.
just scary like it.
And I never had to. That worked out. That coffee worked out pretty well. So what I found definitely is you got to rotate though. You can't stick to one energy drink for a while. Your body definitely.
Celsius has got me in throws. I mean, Bang used to do it for me, but doesn't. I mean, if I'm gonna have energy of any kind, like I'll go have a coffee with Abby every like couple days or so. We have a coffee shop we go to regularly. It just doesn't. One, I don't feel like it packs enough of a punch. I feel like Dr. Tyler unpacked this with me. He was like, "Yeah, man, it's something to do with my hormones, adrenaline, childhood, and just really, really abusing my nervous system over the years."
You remember that? You remember that time your dad told you to leave the seatbelt unbuckled, and you were like, "Why, Pop?" And then he said, "Nothing, son. You hit that big divot, and your head smashed into the windshield."
I was replaying the screeching sound of those brakes as my forehead cracked into the windshield, but
and your head snapped into the windshield.
Yeah,
that's why you probably drink Celsius batters.
Like a Folgers commercial.
That actually happened when I was younger. He did
that to Evan.
Yeah, my dad was going. We were leaving a friend's place, and I just didn't have my seatbelt on, and we just hit we were going down the road. We hit a huge thing, and I went flying into the windshield, and my head smashed the whole windshield. My dad was like, "Oh shit!" And I fell back down like nothing happened. I was like, "That was crazy," and I looked up like, "Oh, that's not good."
Evan's parents used to trust me. I don't know why. And we would go take the food card in town and go grocery shopping. And for whatever reason, I was like, hey, I'm going to do the nice thing. I was driving his mother's vehicle. Okay. 16. I don't know why I'm the one driving, but I was like, hey, Evan, you put your seatbelt on. And he either didn't hear me or chose not to listen. And I was like, Evan, put your seatbelt on. And when he went to reach for it, my mind goes, let's teach him a lesson. So I slam on the brakes, and you heard 5 different words come out of his mouth at the same time. You know, fuck, shit. Oh, what's going on? Hey, wait. Just peeled the skin off his forehead. And I have no idea how it didn't crack the windshield, because like your scenarios, I mean, that's what you'd expect. You'd expect that cannonball to crack, at least crack the windshield, not shatter it. But I think everybody's had an experience like that, right?
Good job, Evan.
Yeah. Shout out to your forehead, bro. No, it's just funny. Like kicking vices, it feels like a cyclical thing. Like, I don't know if you've heard of Alan Carr's easy way to quit cannabis or easy way to quit smoking, dipping, whatever. I couldn't make it to the end of the book because in the beginning, he's like, it's okay. When I say this, I did kick Zens after reading the book. So maybe I just got to try for
That's why they all say, like, people get into running, or people get into swimming, or people get into lifting. It's another vice, it's another high.
I know.
It's another high.
Maybe it's just springtime coming, because ultimate frisbee, nothing sucks more. Like, you don't need to quit something. You just need to start something else.
Sure.
Right.
Speaking of the Great War, what if there were, the Great Drug War that America has lost? What if there was like a Great Drug Civil War?
Elaborate.
The sobers,
mm-hmm.
Everybody else with a vice. Mm-hmm.
Are we saying to evenly distribute those populations above, like, north and south line, east and
let's
west
say
line?
North and south, whatever, east, west. And then you put like everyone on drugs on one side, and you have all the sobers on the other.
Mm-hmm.
Who could win that? Honestly, I wonder.
I'm gonna go sobers. That seems to be, I would say, just kind of from the general direction our country's gone, sober people have won that war pretty consistently since drugs have been the thing.
Yeah, but then you have all the people that have like post-war that they were in war sober, but now they're out of the military hands, right? Mm-hmm. So now they can be on moonshine.
All right? So what's the qualifications to be, say, let's just go back north south, right? If are you in the South if you have done drugs and want to continue doing drugs, or you're actively consuming drugs? A lot of those military vets, they're like, yeah, maybe I did a little heroin in Vietnam, but everyone was doing it. You know what I mean? Maybe I want to get fucked up. But
those people probably would support the people doing drugs at that point, right? So those people will probably fight for the side that's like, you should still be able to do what you want. That instance, right?
Sure. Yeah.
What do you? Let's think about if you're a general on the drug side, you're a general. Like, how are you placing your addicts in all their positions, right? I think as it's been proven in World War II, probably your your meth and crackheads up front. We're putting them up front.
I think you take the kamikaze approach. You say, hey, listen, because let's face it, most of the people that are hooked on like opiates and downers, it comes from a place of like trauma, wounding, not feeling good enough. Those people have a shot at real redemption, laying down their life for something glorious, more glorious than they ever thought that their potential could measure up to. You're making a grand sacrifice for a mission, a cause, a whole belief structure that you can be a part of because you've been alone up to this point. By putting yourself in the front line and sacrificing in a kamikaze fashion, you're emboldening, you're embellishing, you are becoming a martyr of everything that is right in this world that honestly shouldn't be bequeathed upon you. Like that's a whole new chance at life.
Yeah.
Through the lens of dying.
You're definitely gaining some support there too, right? You're going to have the people that are like, I've always wanted to try it. You know, let's get up there. You know, if I'm going to do it, let's do it for what I believe and just
trying like suicide bombing. Is that what you're getting at?
Well, if you're going to be the meth crackhead frontline guy, you're pretty much on the suicide. Like,
well, see, the meth crackhead guys, I think. All right, so this is where I think we can do something different with them. I'm talking about the heroin folks here.
Oh, you're talking about okay.
You know, really? or like fent. You know, the fent people.
You're gonna have to be careful with them because they're just going to be leaning on the front line. You know, they're not really going to be.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You give them a pretty good mission, kamikaze, because they're going to be tough to rein in. They're going to be tough to rein in.
If you give them a mission, you give them a goal, they might be able to do something with that.
They might be able to go right in there, but you're really saying like, hey, there's a mountain of fentanyl waiting on the other side of this mission. The crackheads, can you let's play this out, wartime. Stop. Can you run a tank without a catalytic converter? Because we could send the crackheads in there and be like, strip the converters, dude. They got you can keep the platinum and all the precious metals.
Send them as spies on the back end. Go get the cats.
Not even spies. I mean, maybe spies, but like kind of secret mission style, like
secret mission style, yeah.
You know, and the crackheads just go in like kind of crocodile style.
Yeah. That's a good point. I never thought about that. Like if we can get in there, tell them some like very important component of the tanks that's going to shut them off. Like you get that, we'll pay you.
Yeah,
get that right there. Come bring it back to you.
Yeah, and then you set up kind of like where they get paid out. It looks like a pawn shop. That way they don't have to think about logistics too much. You don't have to think about rank.
It'll just be. I mean, it'll be an army tent with a wooden sign, pawn shop.
Yeah, maybe even pawn stars. Right, so it's like. Ooh. For sure, either you've gone to a pawn shop or you watch Pawn Stars when you're cranked out.
That'll be good. That'll attract them. Yeah.
And then you're just going to have your everyday users. You know what I mean? Like, I think...
Well, I think your everyday users are actually going to lead the meth heads.
I agree. I think the people that are trying to keep together...
Yeah.
You know? But I want everyone hair tested. I don't want anybody in my company, my regiment, you know, my fucking territory, unless I can verify that they have done drugs.
That's true. We can't have people up here that don't know what it's about.
Yeah. Yeah, none of that. I support. I'm an ally. Bullshit. If you're an ally, we need you getting down. You're getting scissored in the dishwasher type vibe. You know what I'm saying? Like,
now, I think the mushroom takers are going to be our flankers, right? Because they got a short window. We only got about an hour or two of like true get in there, right? So you let them. We kind of put them on the side as the battle's taking off, and then they're sneaking around the side through the woods, and then we have them flank at their peak.
Yeah. I say you put the mushroom folks in the forest flanking. You put the poppers in the air. Okay. I don't think there's anything more terrifying than a bunch of men with gaping assholes flying jets down high on poppers.
Right at you.
At you. Right.
They know how to drop bombs.
They know how to fuck someone in the ass.
That's right. They're going to do it.
If you've ever seen Pearl Harbor, they go 12-6. Okay, they come straight down.
Yeah, but they don't know how to back out. These guys are going to know how to back out.
Do they need to back out?
Yeah, because we need them back.
Need to pull out? That's true.
We need them to come back and do it again.
That's true. That's true. But then we have the whole reserves of the gateway weed community. We got
True.
16 years and up back there in the reserves. You know, they talk about a gateway drug to war.
That's how I mean, sativa all day, right? We're just we're not hybrid, we're not indica, we're just sativa. Get them out there.
Oh, I mean, anyone that's young enough to believe that's real, I'm feeding them gas station sex shop weed. I'm not giving them the real shit.
Sure, we're definitely going Delta 9.
Yeah.
Or
I
what was
want
that?
them cranked out on some shit from China.
What was that stuff that they spice?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if they see the enemy as giant cockroaches like Black Mirror style, I think that makes it much easier to eat their face off.
Now, where's our snipers? You know, you got to be like, what are they? Is that our K guys?
Oof.
I don't think so.
I think you're gonna look towards, you know, your finance guys. Granted, they've never shot a weapon, but we want someone really honed in. Some Vyvanse, Adderall, you know, like.
Yeah, that's your Vyvanse Adderall, guys.
Yeah, I would think so.
Prescriptions are pretty limited right now, right? Anyways,
yeah.
It's kind of hard to find it, but those guys know where to get it. Those finance guys, so they're like, nah, don't worry about it. We already got our shit.
Yeah,
just give me a rifle.
And kind of like Patriot. You know, I'd want them to target the leaders. So, like on the sober side, you have like the popes, priests, pastors. I want them to target the vocal leaders ordering the sobers on the battlefield.
It's true.
That way they're disorganized.
Yeah. Now, our LSD guys, they're the guys back at camp mobilizing, right? They're looking at the battlefield. They're high for 12 hours straight, right? They're good to go.
Yeah.
They're looking at they're strategizing. I think they're back at the tent. There are generals just figuring it out.
I think they might be on food duty.
Well, that's the edible guys.
Yeah, I think the edible guys, you know, they won't be happy that we put the LSD guys with them, but the LSD guys are gonna need something to do. I don't know.
I feel like you're right. Not everyone's gonna be able to strategize on LSD. You got some people that are gonna be able to do it. You got some, and it might vary. One day one day he might be able to strategize. The next day he's like, I can't do it. You know, I gotta serve gumbo.
Oh, especially if we're redosing them. Who knows how long this battle goes for? You know,
that's true.
The 2-3 month territory. Jimmy's fried. You know what I'm saying?
And what we do is we get some coffee people on the back end. We get them on the other side of the battle line.
Yeah.
We just start planting seeds because they're drinking coffee on the
so we get the coffee people because if you're sober, you're sober. We don't hear no bullshit.
I think we're getting a split. I think some coffee people are on our side and some coffee people on the other side. But the coffee is how you get them to our side, right? So you get the coffee people over there that are like
propaganda. We drop coffee from the planes.
Are you really sober?
Yeah.
Right. Like, hey, you're fighting on the sober side, but you're
using sober. Where do you draw the line?
Where are you drawing the line, man?
Sober.
Like,
yeah.
What are you doing over
food, man?
Yeah, and you just and after a while they just stare at their cup and they're like, should I be over there?
Mm-hmm.
That's where we're, and then we start dropping coffee. You're right. Just start dropping coffee.
Just dirty bean.
Just dirty bean. Yeah, over there too.
Mm-hmm.
Come on over.
Because they'll have water. Everybody's heard.
And
the dirty bean water.
The sober side, I think there's going to be way more on the drug side. Now the sober side are going to be, they're going to have a lot more sleep,
Yeah.
A little bit more energized, but I don't think they'll have the passion.
Excuse me. I'll be talking about sleep. I don't think that. I think it's a gross misunderestimation of how much passion and energy we will have at the beginning. Especially if we decide to coalesce ranks and divisions and departments. Yeah. Now you have LSD guys giving, tabs to edible guys, it just starts.
Now we start mixing up. Yeah. Eventually it's going to be, you have to go all out up front.
The Air Force has to communicate with the Marines, right? The Marines have to communicate with the Army and the Navy. Like, everybody's working together here.
Now, I think we got to keep the Molly guys off. right? That's peace, love, happiness. We kind of have to like keep them back a little bit. I think they might be protesting.
I completely disagree. I say you give them too much, put someone in a rage state. You know, we have some sudden death playing, some Death Pack, Sullivan King, Keizo. That is their marching orders.
We put them in an A10.
Mm-hmm.
That's where they're at. They're gonna send some.
Or someone with some drone goggles.
They are our night guys. That's our night vision guys right there, dude.
Crack some glow sticks and be like, yo. Right there.
But
when you see the tracer rounds coming at you, that's just really the rave starting.
We gotta make sure the enemy doesn't realize their weakness, and it is glow sticks. They start shooting their glow sticks or locked. We gotta be careful. All right, our snipers got to look out for those guys. They'll pull them in like a moth to a flame. You know?
Oh shit! The fucking defense from the other side is they tilt the helicopters a little bit and tie some glow sticks to the blades. They just do a light show.
It's just leading them. You just lead them boop, 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 across. You know, so you got to be careful. That's their weak point. We know their weak point right there. Crackheads, we know their weak points: catalytic converters and components and money. You know? We leverage that, but that's going to be the only thing there. We can't let that get to the sobers. Won't know it though. They don't know that's their weak side. Eventually, they'll figure it out.
You know, the tough part about this though is that I feel like the most unfortunate part about this, what could be a very realistic scenario, based on my calculations, is that our civil war will spill out beyond our borders. Now we have other countries getting involved. You know, all of a sudden Peru wants to volunteer some of its ayahuasca soldiers. You know, the dolphins want to send their sea urchins.
But listen, there ain't no one sober in Britain, so we got all of Britain, right? There ain't no one sober in Germany. We got most of Germany, right?
Yeah.
There ain't no one sober in Paris. And you talk about nicotine right there. Yeah. That's the nicotine there.
Oh, we didn't even consider the alcoholics.
The alcohol, dude. We have the alcoholics. We have the
bootlegging some NASCARs. Come on.
Can you imagine our moonshiners? That's our mechanics. That's our mechanics right there.
Oh, yeah,
for sure. They're. By the way, difference between moonshiners and alcoholics. Big difference.
Definitely. And just like our med tent's going to be full of doctors and nurses that have already been stealing pills for years and medication, but now they can just do it above the table.
Yep, they're oxyed out. They're oxyed out. We're pushing it. You know, oh, you got a little wound? There you go. Get it out of here. You want morphine?
Little for you, little for me. We're all having fun. We're a big happy family.
Get out there. All right. We got guys losing arms. They're still like, I'm good.
Yeah.
Put me back out there.
Best doctor I've ever had.
He was great.
God damn, that's funny.
Sergeant Perk.
What's crazy is we like joke about it, but I think it's in the Philippines that they were doing the death penalty for if you want to see what just went down, Spotify. I think in the Philippines they were doing the death penalty for drugs.
I think they stopped that one. I think
did they?
Like, was it Thailand or was it?
Thailand was doing it, and they did stop it because now weed's legal there. And when I originally went to the Thai airport in Bangkok, they had a sign that was like letting you know how severe, like they were at the time they treated weed and heroin as the same charge.
Weed and heroin as the same charge? Wow.
So if you had like 3 grams of weed, it was like a gram of heroin, and you know, a gram of heroin was like 10, 15 years or some shit. I mean, it was crazy.
It is crazy. Imagine just brought in a little bit. You're like, oops, forgot that was in my bag.
Well, I knew a guy that I think I've told you about this. Yeah, we talked about this in Miami. I think no, it was Key West, where this guy accidentally flew with a hunting bullet, and he um, flew out of Miami, connected through London, and was going into Thailand. And they found a bullet in his bag, and things got real nasty real quick. He told me about stories of people that he'd met in prison that had been there for 5, 6, 7 years already. And when he met with the lawyer was like, "Oh, it was the bullet trick." And he was like, "What are you talking about?" And apparently that was a common, that was his bullet. And he was certain that he had searched his bag, but he'd just been hunting right before that trip, and that was also his hunting bag. He was like, "No, that was my 308." And
He said the bullet trick, like, oh, that's something they do
that
over
was
there.
a common thing. So long story short, this dude ended up spending 40 grand to get out. And there was like a window of time. So the lawyer is meeting with, he's like, these series of events have to happen. And as he got released with one of the other guys that had already been there for like 5 or 6 years. And as they're going to the plane, the other guy got rearrested. They made up different charges. Took him back.
What?
The lawyer was like, do not relax till you get on that plane. And they weren't trying to let him on the plane. They're like, you have to have this document, da, da, da. And he just ran through some of this bullshit and was able to get onto the
It's
plane.
like, why though? What's the point of like spending all that time to keep someone like that
Money.
there?
Just money.
Just trying to get it out of you, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a great interview on YouTube about this guy that escaped a prison in Bangkok, and he talks about very similar stories. And he was there on some bullshit, but yeah, I mean, what's it cost? You know, you've heard my stories. Like, what's it cost if you're trying to like shoestring it to eat a day in Thailand, where the cost of living's so cheap? You know, it's probably what, 30 cents, 40 cents a day to feed a
Yeah.
prisoner. So it's like, if you work that out, if it costs them $10 a year to hold you there, and they end up getting a couple $100, like that's a pretty solid return.
Yeah. Yeah. If they end up, that's like a little bonus under the table thing that they can force out of you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know,
it's like it's the same equivalent of like getting your fake taken at a club, and he's like, how bad do you want to get inside this thing?
yeah, yeah. So I mean, I don't think it's like a very typical gross abuse of power, but like anywhere, you know, you go to Mexico or something, like there's scams going on, right, by the authorities and whatnot. But we wouldn't have any of that in the drug republic because we already believe in them. You know, we welcome you here, the converted and the non.
By the way, we ought the drug what'd you call it?
The drug republic.
The drug republic.
The drug rug for short.
You automatically get the cartel.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's I mean, that's a superpower on your side.
Yeah.
Right. And depending on what side of the country that you're on, if you're in the South or if you're on the East, I would assume we'd be on the East Coast.
Oh, I'm taking South for sure. Southeast, that's cool.
Yeah.
The sober people can have the fucking cold. Don't give a shit. I mean, I love Denver. Fuck out of here. Like beaches versus what, your fucking lobster?
Also, they're definitely going to come to us. Like, we're not going up. Like, you know, and we're good down here, right?
I mean, we've already established in culture, people doing whatever they want to do is already a problem for sober people, right? So, like, we'll be, I don't know, having fires in the middle of the prairie or something. You can meet us on the battlefield there, I guess, if you want.
Meet us over there. Yeah, we actually we got a meeting today. We're all doing mushrooms. If you want to meet there,
we know they'll find us because we will be minding our own fucking business. Like, we know they'll show up right when we start to have fun.
That's right. That's how it works. We'll be minding our business right when the fun is happening.
Yeah.
Here they come. Ruin it all.
Look for the lights. Listen for the megaphones. Do you have a permit?
Listen for the bass music.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
oh, that's the other thing.
Mm-hmm.
So remember, you got your drum line for battlefields. I mean, obviously DJs.
Definitely.
You got speakers blaring across the battlefield, right? For these guys.
Yeah.
Depending, and then like how you change it up when to attack is like, obviously you get your like meth heads and crackheads to go first. So you get some like hardcore, whatever. But then when you want your mushroom guys to go, then you get some good psychedelic music playing, and that tells them to flank across the battlefield. That's how you change the genres of music.
Yeah, I mean,
get some Grateful Dead going.
I feel like we'd have a fair amount of resources. I can't believe how in depth we're getting into this, but I love it. It feels like building Legos as a kid. I mean, if we have the people that are like, cocaine built Miami, right? Can we be real about that?
Cocaine built Miami for sure. Oh yeah,
cocaine definitely built Miami
for sure. Yeah,
it's not like the money dried up. Money didn't go anywhere.
It's literally in the history books of Miami. Like Miami knows Miami was built on cocaine.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody built on cocaine, probably.
The tough part about being in the South, though, I mean, I feel like, why do sober people have such a problem with substances? What's at the root of that? What do you think it is?
Because I think the biggest one of it is that they'll have a family member that just goes too far, and so they make it
which is fair,
and so they make it their absolute mission to be like, no, drugs cause this, not realizing their trauma probably caused that from their kid, but
yeah. Well, what's also odd to me is that I'm gonna say this is gonna be a bit of an unpolished thought, but let's say you have your traditional politician, which, in defense of politicians, I find that a remarkable percentage of them are highly educated. I don't know how you would frame intelligence, but most of them have high network degrees, how they got their degrees, the family pedigree that they have, etc. is a factor. Yeah. But most of them go to Ivy League schools, etc. And to navigate the swamp of politics in general, like, that takes an incredible amount of just social awareness, emotional intelligence. Like, just navigating cocktail conversations can be extremely draining and like a nuanced, for lack of a better term, right? Mm-hmm. So how can you entertain all these different perspectives to navigate that bullshit to, at the end of the day, influence the outcome you're looking for, right? Whether that's favor within your party or an outcome on a piece of legislature that ultimately benefits you because you're the one that proposed it, et cetera, et cetera. How can you entertain all of these different ideas, perspectives, however you want to think about it? But you have all these really educated people that can't go like, oh, well, it doesn't affect me, so it should be okay, right? Like, it's like something shifts when it comes around substances where people are like, no. Well,
I think so too. They're putting on a front because it doesn't affect them, but how they express how they feel about it affects them, right? So if all these people are saying they're against it and expressing and trying to pass the laws that are against it, it's making them favorable with their voters.
Mm-hmm.
Try to get things pushed forward, right? I mean, I would say like things like weed, on both sides of the party aisle, Democrats, which, by the way, what a shame that wasn't passed while the Biden administration was in, even though they were like, we're going to pass this within the first week or two. Weed's legal across
federalized weed.
Yeah, what a shame. They had everything.
Is the Trump cabinet going to get it done?
I mean, I don't think they're going to get it done either, but it's the first time we've ever heard it from a Republican cabinet that they've been like, yeah, we're thinking about it.
Oh, glad you're thinking about it. I
mean, it's the first time ever we've heard it in a long ass time, but
sure,
it's just like eventually someone's going to pull that trigger, right? But
Me.
I mean,
I'll be the one.
so it's eventually going to be like, just make weed legal everywhere, you know?
Yeah.
What's wrong with selling? We could sell carrots. We could sell cabbage. We could sell potatoes.
Uh-huh.
Why can't we just sell another natural item?
Okay, I got where you're going with that. Yeah.
What's we could sell poppy seeds, technically.
I mean, because weed's definitely been GMO'd as a motherfucker. And that seems to be the requirement for like corn, tomatoes.
It's right there.
Watermelon.
Got it all. What you need.
Yeah, I got what you need, baby. That's a rap song or something.
Easy to FDA approve.
Yeah. I mean, some of the other stuff, hey, I get. Okay. Do I have a clear picture of what rolling out MDMA, LSD looks like? Not really. Not really. But here's kind of the cool part about like cannabis, mushrooms. They seem to come with a pretty straightforward internal playbook. You know, mushrooms, someone gives them to you. As long as they're not giving you a metric ass ton, you bug out a little bit and your body starts to calm down and realizes like there's something oddly normal and natural about this, and you kind of let go. Or you don't, you have a little psychotic episode. That's fine. Education can handle that. But I'm just saying, those two kind of natural, normal, totally get it. I don't know that I have like a defined playbook of how you roll out meth, heroin being totally cool. Portland seems to struggle with it as well.
I'd say Portland was probably a good test on those fronts.
Yeah.
Like, if we're gonna see how this works, let's see how this works. Oh, maybe those are ones we should watch out for. Also, those are very synthetic items.
Right. You know? That's where I'm kind of getting at there. If it's like natural, it's like
actively be brought together by man to make those things.
Mm-hmm.
But same thing with alcohol. You got to bring things together to make something.
Even worse. You got to bring it together and let it fucking rot.
Tobacco, cigarettes.
Just trying out. You know.
Trying out. Yeah.
Tobacco's cool, dude. Tobacco. I get down with some tobacco. Like that real shit, you know.
Also, why is hemp illegal? It's like one of the best products we could use to make items.
Have you listened to any of the educational resources, podcasts, books, etc. on the hemp stuff?
I mean,
ass hat that had all the investments in lumber.
I mean, hemp has been around. I mean, our forefathers used hemp to grow and make items. Our Declaration of Independence is written down on hemp. If you didn't know that, people, like it's on hemp. Our Constitution, our Declaration of Independence, is on hemp paper. So why can't we use that to start making a lot of? I think there was that one guy that made a whole sports car out of hemp. Because, like the door panels, everything was made out of hemp. He was like, "Look at this thing." He's like, he took a hammer and smashed it, and it barely moved. Well,
ingenuity, real men of genius. Yeah.
It's the lobbyist. I don't know. It's the power man.
It's I don't know what's the term for propaganda if it's not coming from a government. You know, it's kind of like the PR campaign. Like the pharmaceutical company's done just an amazing job at PR around drugs. You can't even hate it. You can't hate it.
They're good. They're good at what they do, you know?
I don't know that I've met anyone that
those people that are doing PR on the drugs, they're Adderalled out.
They're coked out. I don't know that I've met a medical pharmaceutical sales rep that isn't cranked out.
So good at being against it if you don't know how to be against it. You know, like if they're taking this stuff and they're like, I know how to go against it. I'm gonna, and what they're doing is going, you know what? I'm gonna make ass loads of money being these PR people, and then I can afford all the vices I want. All those PR people that are showing against it, they're just being selfish because they're like, I can afford all my vices now. I'm not gonna let anyone else. I'm gonna have to give everyone else a hard time. But my vices are going to be covered.
That's kind of the way it works, right? Rules for thee, not for me. The governor in California, he was an amazing representative of that during COVID.
You did a great job. Whatever is for you. What did you say? How'd you say it?
Rules for thee, not for me.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. Stay indoors, whatever. And the motherfucker's throwing like a badass fancy dinner at a
Party
restaurant.
with no mask.
I'm sorry. You know what? I'm gonna own my mistake. I'm gonna own my mistake, okay?
I shouldn't have done it. You're right. I've already collected my thousands in donations, but I shouldn't have done it.
Yeah, it was 50,000 a plate.
Who else was at the party, sir? Nobody. It was just me.
I think it's important when we mess up. No one's perfect. I'm not asking anybody to be perfect. I'm certainly not perfect.
Unfortunately, I'm the governor. I can't be punished. I wish I could. I wish I could be punished. I wish I could. All right. My dom later will punish me.
I was gonna say the same fucking thing. Don't worry, my wife will punish me.
Will get me later though. But you can't. You know? God bless America.
That's why I just couldn't believe. Not that I like the motherfucker or whatever. Most of them are all slimy to me anyway. But DeSantis, from the jump, he was like,
"Well,
all right, this is scary." And then at a certain point, he was like, "I'm tired of this shit. Like, I want to go. Can we go to Applebee's?
Can we all are, dude?" And what was the best here in St. Pete? And it was $5 in St. Pete. They stayed open when everyone should have been closed, and so everyone was going there. And then the city and the state were like, "We're going to fine you," and they're like, "We're making so much money right now. Fine us." Like, well, pay the fine, and then we'll pay your next fine. And they're like, "We're good." So $5 was open. And for a little bit, what was really funny is I noticed not many Lyft drivers and Uber drivers were out there driving. So I was like, screw it. This might be a good time to make a little money. So I went lifting right in the heart of COVID. And it would take people were saying they were waiting 20 minutes, 30, 45 minutes for a Lyft driver. And I would show up at all these like bars that didn't have their sign on. Yeah. But they still had all their locals there. It was really, and they get in the car and they're like, "Do I need my mask on?" Like, and I take that thing off. And so driving around, and they would give me $45, $50 tips because they're just like, "Thank God someone's out here to like drive." And I'm like,
dude, the mask thing was so weird, like so awkward, especially if someone's like, "Excuse me, can you put on a mask?" I'm like, we're fucking 18 months past this shit. Are you serious? Yeah. I get it, but I feel like if we were all going to die, it would have been what we felt like what was going to happen in the first 2 months. That first month to two, my butthole was pretty tight. I've seen a lot of zombie movies. I
loved it. I loved it so much. I was like, here we go, baby. I was like, if we have to go to survival mode, I know what to do. I know where to go. We'll be all right. I was excited. I was like, ooh.
Me too. I just bought a house. Like, that's when we were like,
I told my roommate, I was at the time, I was like, "Hey man, if shit hits the fan, here's how to use these guns."
Have you seen 0 D on Netflix? Did we talk about
this? We just finished it.
How good was that? Did you like it?
First off? Great. It was good. We liked it. Both of us liked it. Yeah, it was great.
Abby looked at me and she was like, "What would we do if this went down?" And I was like, "Get as many resources as we can and get on the fucking road." And she was like, "Wouldn't that be more dangerous?" And I was like, "Well, that's the decision we should probably make ahead of time because it's more dangerous long term to be in the house because people are going to start raiding houses. It's more dangerous short term to be out of the house, right? Like ideally there's like an interim period. But I was like, being where we're at with the mountains, we can get the fuck on the other side of a range before that shit shuts down. Then we're in the country. Now we have a chance to build shelter. Now we have a chance to keep going, right? Because the interstates clog up. She was like, "Huh? Do we have this stuff?" I was like, "No, we should have a go bag for sure. Like this is a normal thing. It's like not a crazy prepper thing to have. It's just have a go bag."
Oh yeah, I found my dad's go bag. That was fun. He had like stacks and stacks of stuff, and then I opened something. And I went, "There it is." All the stuff you need.
Yeah, because we have like all the camping stuff. It would just be.
It was I liked it. We kind of joked. It definitely looked like because it was filmed last year or earlier last year. and it definitely was filmed as if Kamala won. Like,
Yeah.
kind of built around it, like the old white guy. He's
For
the
sure.
enemy in it. They had what was the Indian looking guy that was on Trump's side for a little bit?
I don't know, but yeah.
He's in there as the politician. There's just little hints. It was funny. I liked it. But it was good just to see, like, for one, Robert De Niro as in his prime.
Dude, what a role for him.
What a great role. What a great role.
Crushed it, man. I was like, man.
Still don't know what the dog was barking at in the beginning. Wish I would have known that, but that's okay. I thought we were going to come back to that later. I thought we were going to get that in those last scenes when he was like running around. Dog was barking, running with the dog. I thought maybe that was going to come out as like something with the.
Yeah, it should have. I mean, that was just
this isn't ruining anything. It's just.
Yeah, no, that's him just thinking that's whatever he's getting after that seed.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So that was. I thought it was great. I thought it was great how they did it. Definitely did not see a lot of that coming until.
Some of the twists were so good.
Yeah.
That's what I love about a limited series too. I get finality. I get I get everything I'm after. A good close.
Also a great way to do that topic, right? Like, because we've seen like natural disasters. We've seen all those types of ones. But of course, everyone's talked about the cyber attacks. So for that to finally be and done well.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the only part for me which would give this away would be I was like, how this is a movie show, right? American politicians actually told the truth. Like, that was the part where I was like, I think the alternative ending that you saw where it was going towards is much more realistic.
It hinted at that too, but I think too as well it hinted at when he was that's why he couldn't do that speech at the end, because he was like, I know I'm not being truthful.
Yeah.
I gotta do it. If I do truthful, it'll help.
Yeah.
But they try to go that direction to protect.
Shout out to Netflix, man. I mean, they've been crushing it lately. And we were tallying up last night. We pay for so many streaming services. Do you remember the golden age about 5 years ago when we were like, why would you have cable?
I remember in the golden age, you could put in your college email and barely have, you pay $3.99 for your membership.
Oh, man, that's that shit that I put in the spank bank. You know what I'm saying?
Like, what? I mean, why isn't DirecTV going, oh, are you so tired of paying all these things? Is Comcast being like, ooh?
How much money are they realistically making? Like, I mean, cable companies have got to be still shitting money, right? But,
well, that's why so many of them have switched over to fiber optic cabling, internet, FiOS. T-Mobile started doing it for internet. You've seen a lot of these companies that are breaking into the internet space with fiber optic cabling.
Well, T-Mobile was never exactly like a TV.
They're a phone thing still, right? We want to get people to use our phones more.
Yeah, fair point. I'm just like, I can't imagine paying what we pay, and like, I get one ad and I'll about freak out. Just like one before starting my show, and I'm like, how much fucking money?
The only one I'm all right, I deal with is Prime ads. I already pay for Prime for all the shipping stuff, and I get all this other TV. I'm like, at least I'm getting something else out of this. I'll watch some ads for this one, but I don't want to see ads for anything else. If I had to, and the fact when they were like, oh, well, Hulu, you could get ads now, but if you pay $10 more, you can not get ads. I mean, like, how about I just pay the same amount?
You know what I learned recently is that products are cheaper on Amazon if you don't have a membership, and they also will come with 2 or 3 day shipping if you pay for shipping.
Yeah, I looked into that too. Someone said that, and it's, well, if you in the membership, the cost of shipping is built into that membership, and if you ship so many times a year,
Yeah.
I think it was like over $100 and something worth of shipping. If you get that much over shipping in a year, then it makes it worth it. Which I know I do for sure.
Oh yeah, I mean they talked about like the threshold could be 40 or 50 packages a year.
Yeah.
Which would easily be $400 to $500 in shipping, right? I am so far above that. I mean,
well, you see, Amazon has it now where Netflix used to be. You were like, yeah, $3.99. You know? Yeah, right. I get so much, and Amazon now has that with me. I'm like, I get so much out of this.
Yeah,
whatever. They make returns easy. They make everything easy.
I didn't realize how spoiled I was in Tampa that I could order something. I could order something at 8 in the morning and it'd be at my fucking door by 1 o'clock. When we moved to Austin, it swung totally in the opposite direction. It was like 2, maybe 3. 4 days. Now it's like a firm 2 days.
Really?
Yeah, in Denver.
That's surprising.
Sometimes more. More.
I wonder if it's because you're not near ports. So things coming in from ports, it takes a little bit longer.
Well, I mean, I get it. You have Denver, which is like a metropolitan city, right? But once you get outside of Denver, a lot of these cities are pretty spread out. You know, like Boulder's a couple hours out, or like an hour and a half, right? But then you have like Golden, etc. Like all these areas they're just kind of spread. You got Wyoming right there. I mean, geographically wise, if you were going to put a distribution center, you probably wouldn't angle it too much to Denver because you have a lot of rural areas as well that you want to service. Versus Tampa, you put a distribution center smack dab between Lakeland and Tampa, and you can still service Orlando, Tampa, Naples, or Sarasota.
Yeah.
Huh?
So Orlando probably has their own.
You know what I mean? So it's just you're right there, and geographically speaking,
Austin would definitely have more there, you know. Or
me too.
Or Denver, because it's such a hub. That's my only thought is that because we're closer to ports that they have, because then there's all the companies that are harboring all the products are just like, why are we going to go set up in Tallahassee? Yeah. Right. Let's set up here next to the port and then we can distribute out from here. It might take a day or two to ship to that person, but I'd rather be here and just get all my product off the port.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I'm very happy with the first world problems that I get to bitch about. You know, I got to trade out, have an Ace Hardware 2 minutes down the road. That's been awesome.
So you have an Ace Hardware now? Mm-hmm. By the way, Ace Hardware is awesome. Like, even though they're smaller, they don't have everything. Very helpful whenever you need it.
Sick.
The people are actually pretty much know what they're doing. Or if they don't know what they're doing, they know where the product is that you need.
Hanging this bitch up? I'm trying to get it. That thing's a lot heavier than it looks, right? So I walk in there and I'm like, this is a giant climbing vine thing for your garden or whatever. So it's got legs that I thought I was going to have to cut the legs off with the metal saw thing, right? Circular, whatever the fuck, grinder. So I walk into Ace Hardware and I was like, hey, if I was going to hang a TV, where would I find that stuff? I guess the look I gave her, the way she looked at me was like, are you hanging a TV? I was like, I'm not, but it's just, I would assume the things that I need for the thing I'm doing would be in that area. And she was like, huh.
Hey, I need a barrel and some rope.
God, dude, that's totally the vibe I gave off to.
I'm a rodeo clown. And
I was like, I mean, so, you know, it would just take too long to explain it. Where's that stuff at? She was like, is it heavy? I was like, yeah, it's really heavy. She goes, okay, into aisle 14. I walked there and I was like, oh, perfect. It was past the hanging shit for TVs and right into like deck lug screw shit where like the shear strength is really strong. It's like 150 pounds. I was like, this is exactly what I need.
Just, Ace Hardwares are small enough. Thank you. No problem.
Oh man, yeah, I'm loving it here though, dude. It's awesome. We got springtime coming.
You survived a winter there.
Dude, the winter was not bad at all.
That's good.
Unbelievable how not bad it was here. The
Is
winters
Austin
in Austin, for sure.
Really?
For sure.
Is it because
Yeah.
it's more humidity out there? And it's just you get more cold.
I mean, don't get me wrong, the cold could definitely suck here. It's the little glint of hope that you get when it gets cold here that you can do something with the cold. You're like, oh shit, it's getting cold, it's gonna snow. We can go snowboarding. In Austin, you're like, fuck.
It's just cold.
It's just cold.
We just gotta deal with this cold.
What'd you do in Tallahassee when it got cold? Not a lot.
They still have people going to work in Tallahassee.
For sure. For sure.
Like people, I feel like that would have been a good one or few days that they should have been like,
Yeah,
you know.
I mean, maybe like 1 or 2 days a year. But do you remember the feeling of putting on that Carhartt when it got cold in Florida, and you're like, you know, you go out and warm up the truck. You're like, just every time you come into contact with,
because that cold sticks to you.
It's just not fun cold.
That cold sticks to you because it's in the air and it sticks to you. Whereas the cold out west, crispy. It's like a McChicken.
That shit in the South, when you have left the shower running, you did your pre-shower routine, you got the clothes laid out, you got a fresh towel, you're like, for sure the shower is warm by now, and you hop in and you catch it in that shitty zone, that 1 to 2 second zone where you feel the hot water coming, but it's not there yet, and you just that's that's the feeling of it being cold in the South. It's not that bad, but it's bad enough. You don't want to deal with it.
Yeah.
Get a taste of a stale beer. You're like, I'll deal with it, but yeah.
Those are great descriptions.
Yeah, so we're stoked to see what the springtime has to offer, and
like some good mountain hiking.
I'm
interested to see what the mosquitoes are like out there, though, as the snow melts, because we hit when we were in Kennedy Meadows last year.
Mm-hmm.
We were at that time where the snow just recently melted, so there's puddles everywhere.
Yeah, that
was the worst I've ever seen mosquitoes in my life, by far, in the mountains.
The way you described that was hilarious, by the way.
It was awful.
When you initially told me about that, and the fact you didn't have bug spray, right? I mean,
no.
For all intents and purposes, you didn't have anything.
No, I didn't have anything just because of, the past several times I've gone, I've never had to worry about bugs too much. It's been chilly weather. It's been great. And every time I brought bug spray before, I never used it. So I was like, I'm going to save a few ounces. I don't want to bring this. And then one time I don't bring it, wow, it was so
worst
bad.
You'd ever seen, right? I mean,
anywhere in life. And they were like mutated mosquitoes, because, in the Florida, it gets cold, they just go away because it's cold. Up there, they were just like, oh, hell yeah, brother. It's cold. And they stayed out. And then once 2 a.m. came around, they all disappeared, I think, because the bats came out. But I put on multiple layers just to try to protect myself. It was crazy.
Ooh. All right, we got to end this episode. I got a son to discipline.
Oh, we got to get him.
Yeah.
Get him.
Hey, we love you guys. Thanks for tuning in. One but the buses. We'll see you next week.
See you, folks. We love you. He's got to go take care of business. And I got to take care of editing this thing. Love you guys.
See ya.